The thing is that I'm mild. There's a whole heap of people out there who are moderate and severe. And if they're severe, you're probably not going to see them. They're probably in their beds, or at the very least, their homes. And if they're moderate, you'll see them sometimes, but it is very hard. So it is a pernicious illness. Hi there, Melissa here from Melissa vs. Fibromyalgia and Going My Own Pace. I am sharing because we are in the middle of Awareness Month, and so I take a bit of a break and focus on things like, what is it really like to live with these conditions? And I would like to delve a little bit into what it's really like to live with chronic fatigue syndrome, or MECFS, myalgic encephalomyelitis, chronic fatigue syndrome. It's a bit of a mouthful, that's why we often refer to it as MECFS. And it's a tricky one, especially for me. It's very hard because I've had MECFS since I was 21. I got sick in my last year of university, but I wasn't diagnosed until 2014, but I wasn't actually told that I was diagnosed until like 2022. So my experience is very wrapped up with the fibromyalgia, and I don't really know what is attributed to what, but I am slowly learning, because it is really important, because once you know what's attributed to what, it's much easier to treat it. Now, one of the first things I ever did to help manage the MECFS better was to start pacing. That was the thing that kind of spurred everything in my healing journey. I didn't know it at the time. I just had this feeling that I needed to do less. But living with chronic fatigue syndrome, or MECFS, is so much more. Like, it's so easy to say, okay, it's persistent fatigue. Like every single cell in my body is exhausted at all times. Like every single cell has maybe 60% of the energy of anyone else. It sounds so tidy to kind of say that, but what does it really mean, like in all day, everyday life? It means that I don't have the energy to do half the things I want to do. It means that I wake up exhausted, no matter how well I slept. It means that every day I am just struggling to do what I need to do. It means that my brain wants to do all of these things, but my body has to say, you can't do all those things. It means I need to rest every single day, and I have to be mindful of that rest and activity kind of ratio, which is an important part of the pacing. But almost every day, as a mama, as someone in their 30s with 4 small children and a part-time job and a house and a husband and a dog and all of life, there's this constant battle, because your pacing or your lifestyle decisions are mostly out of your hands. So there's little smart things you can do, but at the end of the day, you're really just along for the ride and just doing your best. And the trick is that when you overdo it, for me, not only does the pain get worse, which is the fibromyalgia, and there is also chronic pain associated with MECFS, but the fatigue gets worse. And something I didn't actually know until recently is that I feel very sick. Like, I get physically nauseous when I overdo it, and I've realized now that that's what I call a mini crash. And so regularly I'm pushing myself into a mini crash, because I'm trying to push through, I'm trying to get on with it, I'm trying to do what I need to do, I'm trying to be a mama, but I never quite have enough energy to do it. So I have these mini crashes. It happened yesterday evening. It was Mother's Day. You would think that it is, a fairly relaxing day. We went to church. After church, I snuck in a 20-minute yoga nidra break, because I knew the rest of the day would be a bit crazy and I was already feeling really tired. Unfortunately, it was so early that the rest didn't really work and I didn't really relax into it, and it was a bit interrupted by everyone in the house. We went out for lunch, which sounds relaxing, right? But it's kind of tiring, and sitting up in the chair is painful for my pelvis and my neck. And so by the time we got home, I was exhausted. But my husband went off to have a quick nap, and so I tried to sit in my chair and read my book, because that's all I really love to do, is sit down and read my book, because I was so sick in my 20s that I couldn't read. Like, when I'd finished work, I was too physically and mentally exhausted to be able to read. So that's my thing that I love to do. But within 10 minutes, the phone rang, and I've been part of this compulsory study for Statistics New Zealand. Every 3 months for the last 3 years, I've had to do a survey about employment and salary and whatever else. So they called and I had to do that. And then by the time that was finished, I had to get on. Everyone needed dinner and baths and showers and blah, blah, blah. I really wasn't feeling well. I was really feeling it. I really, at that point, should have been going to have a rest, but that's just impossible. And I felt sick. But you get to a point where you feel so sick that you can't consider eating, but if you don't eat, it's going to get worse. So I managed to get some soup into me while I was getting everyone else's dinner, and then I sat them down with a movie and their dinner and went off to have a hot bath with Epsom salts. And it helped just a little bit, but not that much, unfortunately. And so by the time I got everyone ready and I got myself in bed and I took my medicines and I did my wind down routine, I was beyond exhausted. And then you go to sleep, and then you don't sleep well because you can be that tired all day, you can be deprived of your rest, you can be so tired you're sick, but then it's not going to help you sleep because being overtired is not very good. So all of that tipped my nervous system up. So my heart rate was above resting for 80% of the night, which means I wasn't resting. My body was not rested. And so I can feel it today. And so this morning I had to drop off the car after I dropped everyone off at school in kindy, dropped off the car, and then walked to the mall where my brother was meeting me to pick me up, to bring me home. But I was feeling really dizzy. I kept getting these waves of like dizziness, and like I just needed to close my eyes because I'm just that tired now. And that's what it is to live with MECFS, is you don't have enough energy for these normal things, and you overdo it by even a little bit, and you pay for it. Then, so now today I'm more tired, and if I'm not really careful, I'm probably going to get more overtired, and I've got to really stem the tide today or it will become a big crash. And so it's pernicious because it isn't just that I'm tired. Hopefully you can see all these things that I'm managing, and I do all the right things. Like, I am so proactive. I have the best holistic management plans. I do my yoga nidra, I take the medicines, I see the chiropractor, I do my breathing practice, I do my gentle movement, I do my stretching, all of it. But you never get rid of that fatigue, and you can work really hard and you can sleep really well. Like, some nights you can have a great sleep and you're still tired the next day. You're just exhausted at all times. Like, you never ever feel well rested. You never feel like you have enough energy, and there's never not a negative sensation in the body. And you can't not think about it because it's pulling on you at all times. Like, at all times my eyes are just so tired. And it varies across the day. And the thing is that I'm mild. There's a whole heap of people out there who are moderate and severe. And if they're severe, you're probably not going to see them. They're probably in their beds, or at the very least their homes. And if they're moderate, you'll see them sometimes, but it is very hard. So it is a pernicious illness. So I hope we get some answers soon. But that's what it's like.